Alright guys, today, as you just saw, we got the tires put on the wheels. So we're going to get those tires put on before long. But before we do that, it's a big day. We are going to get this thing started and running. So before I can get that to happen, I'm going to have to open up the ignition switch that we received. And we're going to have to install this radiator and the two fans. So the AC fan and then the radiator fan. But first thing we're going to have to do is get the ignition switch so we can actually turn the key and start the car up. So let's get started. So here's our replacement ignition switch. He did send the lock cylinder as well, but I don't think I'm going to use that because mine is good, so I will probably just swap out the switch itself. So this lock cylinder has an additional switch here, which is used for the key in ignition when the doors open. But the lock cylinder that I have in the car is actually a JDM lock cylinder, which does not include this switch. Alright, so installation of the new switch here is simply the reverse of what we just did. So we'll just line up the switch itself, pop it into place, and then we'll insert our screws. Okay, now that we got our screws in, we'll just plug in our wiring harnesses again. The small plug goes into the fuse box here. Snap it in, and then the other one just plugs into the harness here. I'll get these tucked away. Alright, we're all done with the ignition switch. I'm going to wait to test it out until we get the radiator installed and put some coolant in the car. So, like I mentioned in the last video, this is the radiator I'm going to be using. He painted half of it black and had a couple of slim fans on here. But since I've got the Mugen style Wings West bumper, I'm going to go ahead and throw a coat of black paint over all this silver here so it's not visible when we go to install the bumper. We don't want to see all this silver in here. Alright, now that it's all painted and dry, let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing put in. Alright guys, it's the moment of truth. I've got the coolant filled up. I've got the ignition switch changed out. So I'm going to give this thing a turn over and see if it'll start up. Pretty sure it will, based on the last time where the ignition switch was faulty. I was able to start it, but it just died. So I'm going to give this a go. A running car means one thing. Let's get this thing on some wheels.